I see it often. Someone brings home the finest whole grain bread, organic rolled oats, or brown rice with the germ still on. They chose carefully, spent a little extra, out of love. But when the meal ends, the parent just says, "It was fine, fine." You notice they chewed very slowly, looked tired afterwards, maybe rested a hand on the stomach, or felt heavy all afternoon. Push a little, and they wave you off. It's nothing, just age. And the one who did the shopping feels confused, maybe even a little hurt. They meant so well. So why did it feel like something went wrong? Here's what I've quietly come to think, after spending years watching how bodies change after 60. The problem isn't the grain. It's rarely the grain. It's a form it comes in, and whether an older stomach still has the power to handle it that way. Before I go any further, a careful word. I'm not a doctor, just a retired man who pays attention. If your parent has a digestive condition, trouble swallowing, or persistent pain, please start with a real medical visit. What I'm sharing is not treatment. It's the kind of small kitchen habit that can make daily life feel a little easier. So let's look at what's happening at the table. After a certain age, the stomach slows. It's not a disease, just nature's economy. Less acid, weaker muscle movement, fewer digestive enzymes. When you're young, a bowl of dry, rough brown rice burns through like kindling in a strong fire. At 70, that fire has become a gentle simmer. Feed it large amounts of hard, coarse, uncooked tender fiber, and it doesn't burn, it sits there. Now think about what these so-called healthy grains actually feel like inside. Uncooked tender oat groats, dense whole wheat bread with hard visible bran, brown rice that hasn't been soaked. In the gut, they're a bit like a dry sponge. For a young person who drinks plenty of water and has strong movement, that sponge swells, softens, and moves along. But many older adults don't feel thirst the same way, drink less, and digestion is slower. So that dry sponge doesn't move. It absorbs whatever moisture is there, gets harder, and the feeling of being stuck, bloated, uncomfortably full. That's what stays with them for hours. When a parent says, "I feel heavy," or "it just won't go down," they're not complaining. They're describing a physical labor the stomach is still doing long after the meal is over. Some even find that late-night acid reflux is partly tied to a dinner that was too rough. While the rest of the body wants to rest, the stomach is still working the night shift. So what to do? Stop serving grains? No, that's not the answer either. I want to mention something many Eastern elders have done for generations, not because it's mystical, but because it's very practical. It's a habit of eating grains that have been softened, slow-cooked, or gently fermented. Warm porridge, soft stews, slowly leavened steamed breads. Look at the breakfast of a very old person in many traditional homes. It's not ice-cold milk poured over crunchy raw muesli. It's a bowl of warm millet porridge, or oats cooked until a silky layer rises to the top. Their bread isn't a dense, seedy, whole wheat brick. It's a soft fermented dough, torn open while still steaming. Someone might say, "But you're just cooking it to death. Doesn't the nutrition disappear?" Actually, what you're doing is a form of predigestion. Long, gentle cooking with water and heat does some of the hardest work outside the body. Starches are already gelatinized, tough fibers relaxed, nutrients far easier to absorb. The stomach doesn't have to fight the food. It simply receives it. Same grain, different form, much less burden. I'm not telling you to serve only white rice porridge and nothing else. That would be too narrow. What I mean is, you can take the very same whole grains and change the preparation just enough to spare the stomach a lot of struggle. Here are a few small things to try. Pick one. There's no rush to do them all. First, instead of plain steamed brown rice, soak it for a few hours. Then cook with a little more water until truly soft. Or a few times a week, combine brown rice with a handful of millet and oats, and slow cook it into a porridge. Stir in a little pumpkin or squash. Their natural smooth texture coats and soothes the digestive tract instead of scraping it. Second, if your parents are used to whole grain bread, look for naturally leavened, long-fermented loaves. The crumb is airy, the bran already softened by time. That's far gentler than a dense, crumbly sandwich bread packed with hard kernels. Another good choice is warm overnight oats. The oats steep through the whole night, swelling completely. Warm them in the morning, and you get a smooth, comforting bowl that goes down with very little work. Compare that feeling to a mouthful of dry, cold cereal. Your stomach already knows which feels safer. Third, even when you serve soft rice, bread, or noodles, gently remind your parents to chew a little longer. No rush. Every extra chew is mechanical work the stomach doesn't have to do. Many older people eat quickly out of habit or while distracted. Sometimes you don't need to change a single ingredient, only the pace at the table. And there's one more small but powerful detail: water. If you prepare high-fiber grains, make sure enough water is available throughout the day. Fiber without moisture is that dry sponge. Many seniors don't feel thirst until they're already somewhat depleted. A gentle rhythm can help. A small glass of warm water mid-morning, another mid-afternoon. Not forced, just offered. None of this requires a nutrition degree or expensive equipment. Soak the grain a little longer. Cook the porridge a little slower. Choose the softer bread. And while you're at it, sit with them, share a few words, and let them feel unhurried and safe. Now I'd like to pause and say something about the love behind all this. Sometimes, as children, we carry our health knowledge like a new tool. We believe our way is the correct way, the scientific way, the way that will give them more years. That love is real. But a body that is 30 years older than ours has its own rhythm, its own limits. When we impose a younger digestion standard on an older stomach, our care can silently turn into pressure. And at this age, what I've come to fear isn't slowness. It's when love starts to feel like an expectation. Some parents don't say the food made them uncomfortable because they don't want to disappoint you. They don't want your effort at the supermarket to feel wasted. So they swallow the discomfort along with the grain. But if someone is tense and forcing down a meal they secretly dread, digestion nearly shuts down. The brain and gut are deeply connected. A stressed mind tells the stomach, not now. So the very meal meant to nourish them ends up being a burden the body resists. Real care isn't serving what you believe is best and walking away. It's bending a little closer. It's watching how they eat, listening to what their body says afterward. A warm, soft bowl of porridge that they finish with ease can, in its own quiet way, nourish them more deeply than a bowl of brown rice they finish with silent struggle. There's an old habit in many traditional households of using gentle, well-cooked grains when someone is weak or aging. Not because porridge is magic. It's because the body at that stage needs food that doesn't demand a fight. Food that lets it rest, repair, and simply be. So here's what I'd invite you to try, maybe as soon as the next meal. Don't overhaul the whole menu. Just watch quietly. How long do they chew? After the plate is clean, do they seem a little brighter? Or do they sink into the chair, heavy and drowsy? Then ask one simple question. Did this meal feel comfortable? Does your stomach feel tired? Ask about the feeling, not the nutrition label. You might hear an answer that surprises you, and that answer will show you exactly what small adjustment to make next. Of course, if your parent has long-term bloating, acid reflux, constipation, is losing weight without meaning to, or if food ever feels stuck when they swallow, those are not things to fix at home by tweaking recipes. That's the moment to see a doctor. The gentle habits I'm describing here are for daily comfort and support. They are not treatments. At my age, I've come to believe something simple. For an older body, comfort at the table matters more than perfection. Steady, calm, gentle nourishment matters more than extremes. A meal that doesn't exhaust the stomach is already a good meal. I hope you and the older adults you care for can find that little bit of extra ease, one warm bowl at a time. No rush. Steady is enough.